This is K1DBC. All stations please stand by. The Denver Radio Club Learning Net starts in 5 minutes.
W0TX repeater.
Our SpaceX Crew 6 mission safely returns to Earth, the tech demo hitching a ride on our Psyche spacecraft, and studying ancient life on Earth to better understand Mars. A few of the stories to tell you about this week at NASA. On September 3rd, the 4-person crew of our SpaceX Crew 6 mission, including NASA astronauts Stephen Bowen and Woody Hoberg, climbed aboard their SpaceX Dragon spacecraft and undocked from the International Space Station. They returned to Earth very early the next morning, splashing down safely in the waters off the coast of Jacksonville, Florida. The international crew contributed to hundreds of experiments and technology demonstrations during its 6 months in orbit. The no earlier than October 5th targeted launch date of our Psyche mission to a metal-rich asteroid is less than a month away. The Psyche spacecraft will have a hitchhiker on the trip, a laser transceiver for our Deep Space Optical Communications or DSOC technology demonstration. DSOC, the agency's first test of high-bandwidth optical communications beyond the moon, aims to show how lasers could increase data transmission rates far beyond the capacity of current radio frequency systems used on spacecraft today. Members of our Mars exploration program and several international partners recently went on a field expedition to the Western Australian outback to study some of the oldest confirmed fossilized life forms on Earth that may be relatable to Mars. Both planets may have had similar pasts, so learning more about the evolution of Earth may help us understand what we find now and in the future as we search for signs of ancient microbial life on Mars. An MD-90 airplane was recently flown to Boeing's Palmdale, California facility to be converted into the X-66A experimental aircraft for NASA's Sustainable Flight Demonstrator project. The X-66A, which will utilize a fuel-efficient transonic truss-braced wing configuration, supports the U.S. goal of achieving net-zero aviation greenhouse gas emissions by 2050. That's what's up this week at NASA. For more on these and other stories, follow us on the web at nasa.gov/twan.
Ready? Let's go check it out. They don't function the same way in micro-G.
We can conduct observations across the entire globe.
Let's talk about the moon phases.
We're going to demonstrate the acceleration during the reboost.
Water is the stuff of life.
Because sound cannot travel in space.
Today, we will demonstrate moment of inertia.
Wear personal protective equipment in the lab.
I hope you enjoyed those few videos there. Some NASA space, or NASA heavy things here. SpaceX crew mission safely returns to Earth this week at NASA. The demo hitching a ride Psyche spacecraft studying ancient life on Earth. Demonstrations. NASA STEM demonstrations performed or explained by astronauts living and working on the International Space Stations, accompanied by lessons known as classroom connections, as well as the Ring of Fire upcoming solar eclipse here on October 14th. So I hope you all enjoyed that. Check those out on the NASA YouTube and as well as NASA STEM YouTube pages. We'll get the net started here. This is Daron, K1DBC. Hello and welcome back to the Denver Radio Club Learning Net for September 13th. It's a great place to learn about ham radio and STEM topics in general. Thankfully, we have plenty of combined experience and expertise. Again, this is Kilo 1 Delta Bravo Charlie. My name is Daron, Delta Oscar Romeo Oscar November DORON, and I am this evening's net control. We've spoken about quite a lot over the last few weeks and over the last several nets. I have not kept up with archiving some of that stuff, but again, youtube.com/Denver Radio Club. It's all on there. I just haven't done a good job of making chapters, things like that. So we'll be taking your check-ins this evening, comments, questions, updates, and more. We meet every Wednesday, except the third Wednesday of the month, 7:30 p.m. Mountain Time, on 145.490 and 448.625. You can contact us via email if you'd like, Elmer at w0tx.org. We're also on most social media at Denver Radio Club, and over on our webpage, w0tx.org/officers, you'll be able to see a bunch of phone numbers, emails, and things like that. So w0tx.org/officers, you can find a bunch of more information. And again, youtube.com/Denver Radio Club. This net can be broken at any time for emergency or priority traffic by using the word break. Is there any emergency or priority traffic at this time? You can also follow along with the check-ins. Self-check-ins aren't available at the moment, but if you are ever wondering the call sign of someone or the name of someone who's checked in, you can follow along with that. So as a net control operator, I'll be putting information into a spreadsheet. You can find that over on w0tx.org/check-in. Again, w0tx.org/check-in. You'll be able to see call signs, names, and a few bits of information there, as well as the traffic that was passed and past nets as well. You can view a lot of information as well. All check-ins to the net will be taken in alphabetical groups based on the first letter of the suffix of the operator's call sign. The suffix is the first letter after the number in the call sign. If you can, please try to use ITU phonetics for the call sign at least, and indicate if you have any traffic or questions as you check in. If your suffix begins with the letters A through M, Alpha through Mike, please check in now.
Kilo 0, Lima Alpha India, K0 LEI, Larry in Lakewood. Kilowatt Delta 0, Charlie Golf Fox, Kenny and Thornton.
This is Kilo Echo 0 Alpha Bravo, Ken in Lakewood.
Kilo Foxtrot 0, Juliet Whiskey X-Ray, Ben in Lakewood.
Kilo Foxtrot 0, Alpha Whiskey Charlie, Bryan, Virginia, no traffic.
W0TX, repeater.
All right, this is K1DBC Net Control. We'll hold up there for just a moment. Net Control would like to welcome and acknowledge the following check-ins: K0LAI Larry, KD0 CGF Kenny, KE0 Alpha Bravo Ken, KF0JWX Ben, I may have said Alpha Bravo was Ken, sorry, and then JWX Ben, and then KF0AWC Brian. Got you all checked in. AWC a bit faint, but readable there. So thank you all so much for checking in. All right, once more, if your call suffix begins with the letters A through M, Alpha through Mike, and you'd like to check into the Denver Radio Club Ham Learning Net just for the count, or if you have any traffic or questions, let us know your call sign, your name, and if you have any traffic or questions, A through M, Alpha through Mike, please check in now.
WD0CIV, WD0CIV, Charleston, Denver, no traffic.
All right, this is Daron, K1 DBC Net Control. Net Control, I'd like to welcome knowledge of the following check-in. WD0CIV, Charles, thank you so much for checking in. We'll go ahead and move down the alphabet. We'll just take all call signs, all call suffixes at this point. If you'd like to check into the Denver Radio Club Learning Net, again, it's a great place to learn about ham radio STEM topics, and we have plenty of combined experience and expertise. So we're taking all call signs, all call suffixes. Let us know your name, your call sign, and if you have any traffic or questions, please check in now.
Alpha Echo 0 Yankee Romeo, Ed in Arvada, no traffic.
Kilo Echo 0, Sierra Uniform Mike, Jonathan, Lakewood.
November 0 Tango Romeo Papa, Jim in Lakewood, good evening.
Kilo Foxtrot 0, Foxtrot Papa India. Ron in Lakewood, no traffic.
All right, this is Daron, K1 DBC Net Control. I'd like to welcome and acknowledge the following check-ins. AE0YR Ed, KE0SUM Jonathan, N0TRP Jim, and KF0 FPI Ron. Thank you all so much for checking in. Once more, we're taking all call signs, all call suffixes. If you'd like to check into the Denver Radio Club Ham Learning Net just for the count, or if you have any traffic or questions, or want to update us on anything you've spoken about before, again, all call signs, all call suffixes. Let us know your call sign, your name, and if you have any traffic or questions, please check in now. All right, this is Daron, K1 DBC Net Control. Again, reminders, real quick, w0tx.org for our website, more information on our club, youtube.com/Denver Radio Club. You can find a live stream of this net and some past nets and meetings if you've missed any of that. w0tx.org/check-in, and you could follow along with who's checked in so far. So with that, I don't see anybody else, or I didn't see any mention that they had any traffic or questions, but you can check in throughout the net. Comment or question on our YouTube if you like, if you're not licensed, or we're also taking third-party check-ins. If you're nearby somebody who has a license and you'd like to check in or comment, you can use their license, their call sign. So with that, I'll throw it out to the group. We have another 50 or so minutes. We could discuss quite a lot of things here. But I'll throw it out to the group. Any other comments, questions, check-ins, anything else so far for this evening's net? Go right ahead. All right, this is K1 DBC Net Control. I can start things off here. I don't know if they're still listening or if they're still on this frequency, but Nick, I believe it was, KF0NET, was checking in an hour or so ago, just trying to get some assistance with their radio, an FTM 300, I believe, DR. And I believe Ken, KE0 Alpha Bravo, and myself were trying to help there a little bit. But yeah, I don't know if Nick is still out there or anyone else has. They were having some issues transmitting. It sounds like FTM 300 DR, and maybe there was a couple of PL tone changes they needed to make in their radio. But I think they maybe made it at the very last transmission. But yeah, if they're out there or anyone else has any information on that, the FTM 300 DR or anything else, go right ahead.
I was listening at that time to Rome. This is AE0YR, and I could not hear that guy. I could only hear the guy that was trying to help him, but I couldn't hear the guy with the problem radio. AE0YR.
Comment, SUM.
AE0YR, that's interesting to hear as well. Yeah, I was, maybe they weren't hitting the repeater, but I heard them as well, so maybe it was on Simplex I was hearing them. So yeah, that's pretty interesting to hear. So K1DBC, AE0YR, thanks for the follow-up on that. That might be some help with that. So, and then we had SUM, Jonathan. Go right ahead.
Well, from my experience, you mentioned earlier about PL. So what was happening was he was getting in. So somebody heard him, and then they went to reverse, which is somewhat like using simplex. But generally, then you can still talk to them. But the other gentleman said, I could hear one guy, but I couldn't hear the other one. I've seen this a number of times over the years.
All right, SUM, this is K1 DBC Net Control. I think you mentioned something, maybe AE0YR went on the reverse, or, there was another terminology I wanted to use, talk around or something like that. Maybe listening to the receive frequency potentially, I don't know. But it sounded like maybe one of us had done that. So yeah, that's interesting to hear as well.
W0TX repeater.
Alpha Bravo.
Yeah, Alpha Bravo, go right ahead.
Oh, maybe that's what it was, is when he was trying to set that up, he hit that reverse button, and that's what he was doing. Like SUM said, is he was trying to set it up, and then he hit the reverse. And that is kind of strange that the other gentleman heard him and then didn't hear him, so maybe that's what he was doing. This is Kilo Echo Zero Alpha Bravo, back to net.
All right, Alpha Bravo. Thanks so much on that. And yeah, something you were mentioning as well was the ENC functionality. And I think if people here in this group might remember, we were helping. I can't remember who we were helping. Very similar radio, and yeah, there was basically a function that needed to be set on for the PL tone on the channel, as well as a general radio function. I was trying to find it as well, but. Yeah. Thank you for everyone's help and information on that. Anyone else on that? Go right ahead.
Alpha Bravo.
Yeah, KE0 Alpha Bravo. Ken, go right ahead. Or, yeah, go right ahead.
instructions. And in my book here for the 3000, it says if you need to send an uplink coding tone, select ENC. And then it says for encode decode operations, choose the T squelch instead. And so that's why I'm saying set up the ENC, and then that turns the squelch tone on, or not the squelch tone, but the tone that uplinks to the repeater anyway. Back to net.
All right, Alpha Bravo. Thank you so much for that. Yeah, looking through the manual, at least for the 300DR, at least, I'm not finding anything under ENC, but that sequel tone squelch. There's definitely quite a lot of options for that. So it sounds like might be worded a little bit differently for this radio, but it's definitely something very similar to what we've discussed about as well, of making sure that the radio uses the right kind of PL tone squelch for transmitting and keying up a repeater. So, yeah, thanks again for your help on that. And yeah, if anybody's ever monitoring the repeaters and somebody calls out for some help, and if you have some time, don't hesitate to jump in and try to help them if you can, or if you feel comfortable. So yeah, really appreciate Alpha Bravo and anyone else that could assist with that. All right, this is K1 DBC Net Control. Yeah, I think it was KF0NET, I think, went by the name of Nick. So if you're listening out there or still listening, let us know, and we can try to help you, or if you want to check in, let us know. All right, this is K1 DBC Net Control. Yeah, we still have plenty of time here. I didn't see anyone else indicate they had any traffic questions. We have 12 people checked in here so far. Really appreciate that. A few people watching here on YouTube. Really appreciate that. We were playing some videos right before the net, some NASA-based videos this week at NASA, as well as STEMonstrations, some pretty cool STEM concepts demonstrated on the International Space Station, as well as the Ring of Fire, which is an upcoming solar eclipse, October. Let me find a date here. October 14th of this year. So check out their YouTube page, NASA. Pretty cool stuff there.
Drone, isn't part of that available to see here in Colorado?
This is Daron, K1 DBC Net Control. It looks like the U.S. eclipse maps on go.nasa.gov. It looks like they'll be skirting just southwest Colorado. It looks like around Montrose and Durango potentially, but I'm sure we'll probably have a pretty good opportunity as well in the Denver metro and northern regions to probably check that out as well. So yeah, it'll be skirting Utah, Albuquerque and things like that. So yeah, I'm pretty sure that we'll probably have an opportunity to view that as well. So looks like go.nasa.gov, and then there's some solar eclipse maps that are available. So yeah, great question there. All right, this is K1 DBC Net Control. Yeah, it looks like there'll be a cross around opportunities basically landing in San Antonio, it looks like, but I'm sure we'll definitely be able to have a pretty good opportunity here. So yeah, October what I say, the 13th or so. Yeah, don't forget to check that out. Or October 14th, excuse me. As NASA tries to reiterate completely, do not stare directly at an eclipse. It is never safe to look directly at the sun during an annular eclipse without specialized eye protection designed for solar viewing. So get those. I think you can get them online somewhere fairly cheaply as well. Some pretty just cheap eye protectors for that. So yeah, that'll be pretty cool. All right, this is Daron, K1DBC, Net Control.
KF0JWX, comment.
Yeah, JWX with the comment. Go right ahead.
Hey, Daron and the rest of the net. Quick comment. A few nets ago, I can't remember which one it was, but somebody was putting out the call for like possible speakers at a monthly meeting. And so me as a relatively new ham was thinking, okay, what would kind of be of interest? What's something I could maybe get value out of, and even a more experienced person. So I work at a local lab, and I asked some of my scientist friends, hey, do you know anybody that might know anything about space weather, specifically solar cycle 25 and how it affects HF propagation? And so he put me in touch with this scientist up at the NOAA Space Weather Prediction Center in Boulder, and this guy turns out to be a ham radio operator. And I sent him a quick email and said, hey, would you maybe be interested in speaking someday with the DRC? And he said, yeah, sure, just let me know when and where. So I don't know who to kind of talk to at the Denver Radio Club about this, but if you have any opinions on this, if that's appropriate, or who I could get in touch with, let me know. JWX back to net.
W0TX repeater.
JWX, thank you so much for your follow-up on that. Yeah, and I did see your email here on that. Sorry for not responding, but that's so awesome to hear. So at the moment, Jeff Irvin is a pretty good contact for that. KB0CHT, Kilo Bravo 0 Charlie Hotel Romeo. Over on our officer's page, you'll see his phone number and email address. It's just his call sign at w0tx.org. KB0CHT, great contact at the moment to help put that resource in touch with us. So that's awesome to hear about Solar Cycle 25. Maybe you can have a local ham give us some information on that. So that's awesome to hear. Thank you so much on that. So yeah, Jeff Irvin, KB0CHT. So yeah, KF0JWX. Ben, thank you so much for your follow-up on that. Let me know if you have any questions on that.
No follow-up questions. Yeah, I just wanted to make sure that you had seen that. I sent that in an email. I think it was just yesterday, but I didn't know if it goes to spam or something. You know how that works. But yeah, I appreciate the consideration.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for doing some legwork on that. Really do appreciate that. I'll get that sent over to Jeff as well. Yeah, it sounds like we're getting a few people trying to help with some of our upcoming presentations. So really do appreciate that. So yeah, if anybody's ever interested, Jeff again is a pretty good contact. He's kind of helping to schedule some of these things and help people troubleshoot their technical things when trying to present things like that. So again, w0tx.org/officers. Whoever you're comfortable getting in contact with, anyone out there listening, get a hold of us, and we can make sure that whoever wants to present something, whether it be you or someone you know, we can get them set up and working here. So really do appreciate that. So thanks again. All right, this is Daron, K1DBC Net Control. I'll just take this opportunity to take official check-ins. Welcome back to the Denver Radio Club Learning Net. Great place to learn about ham radio STEM topics. We have plenty of combined experience and expertise. We're taking all call signs, all call suffixes. Let us know your call sign, your name, and if you have any traffic or questions. If you'd like to check into the Denver Radio Club Ham Learning Net, again, all call signs, All call suffixes, please check in now.
This is John K0DIQ.
All right, in that time we had K0DIQ. John, thank you so much for checking in.
Yeah, I got something to throw out to the net.
Yeah, not a problem. Let me just put out a second call for check-ins, and I'll come back to you here in just a minute. So once more, anyone else wants to check in? If you have any traffic or questions, let us know.
N0DIS, November 0, Delta India Sierra, Doug, no traffic.
N0DIS, Doug, got you checked in. It looks like the tool I'm using is querying the ULS correctly now, so it's working. So I got you checked in there, N0DIS, Doug. All right, well, with that, we'll throw it over to John, K0DIQ. John, the net is yours. Go right ahead.
Okay, thank you. Does anybody have any experience with Ameritron HF amplifiers? Well, that's my question.
All right, gotcha. Sorry about that. Ameritron HF amplifiers. It doesn't sound like maybe immediately, but I don't know if there's anything specific you were trying to troubleshoot or anything on that. We can maybe try to lend a hand. If you want to go into it, go right ahead.
Okay. Well, in the back of the amplifier, there's these little holes that go to tuning coils. Each of them have the old type slugs, the carbon, and they're like octagon type slugs that you can tune. Now in the manual, there's nothing that says that you're supposed to be tuning these things. And it also has an ALC pot back there that you can tune. And it doesn't say anything in the manual about this. So I was wondering if anybody had any experience on these before I go to Ameritron and actually get some help.
For Bravo.
Great question there, and then Alpha Bravo will come back to you here in just a second. Yeah, so very quickly to reiterate, Ameritron, the tuning coil, slug tuning, quite deep in there, but it looks like I'm finding a coil tuning tool with hexagonal and flat terminations for the adjustment of the ferrite cores and adductors from Syscom here. So it sounds like there is some options to do that or something like that. But yeah, that's way above my head. So I'll throw it out to Alpha Bravo, KE0 Alpha Bravo. Ken, go right ahead.
This is Kilo Echo Zero Alpha Bravo. I have a Amatron AL811 amplifier, and I've run it for about probably 12 years, and I've never touched any of that stuff back there. And I always seem to get good reports, and I've never had any problems. Why would you want to try to adjust any of that? Just out of curiosity myself.
Okay, well, they're there for a reason, and I'm not sure if they adjusted them at the factory or what, but there is a pot back there that you can adjust for the ALC. Now, and it does have the little holes for the coils back there, So what I was wondering if, like you said, you had no problem with yours, but yeah, I got the whole thing hooked up.
8 p.m.
Hooked up to an FTDX10, and it's a 10-pin connector. It goes into RCA jacks in the back. So, you know, I'm just wondering here, like, you had any problems with it or anything like that?
No, I haven't, because I'm running one of those Emitron model ARB 704s with mine, and I've got it hooked up how they wanted it hooked up to kind of protect the relays and stuff. But I've never had any problems, and I don't know anything about that back. I do know that I have seen all those holes and all those adjustments back there, but I don't know anything about that. So if I don't know anything, I just leave it alone. But yeah, if you're having problems, maybe you should call the factory. This is Kilo Echo Zero Alpha Bravo. Back to net.
Hey, Jerome. Yeah, you're absolutely right. I think I will give them a call and see if they are supposed to be adjusted. Like, maybe yours don't have no problems, but you know, I'm just wondering what's going on with this thing. You know, it's working and everything, but I'm not getting the full power I should have, you know. So anyway, thanks for the time, you guys, and your comments on this. I'll be listening out. K0DIQ.
All right, K0DIQ, this is Daron, K1DBC Net Control. Thanks so much for your question, and Alpha Bravo, KE0 Alpha Bravo, Ken, for your follow-up on that as well. Just some cursory search here on the Ameritron AL811H, at least, manual. The ALC circuit converts a portion of the RF drive voltage at the exciter end. It can be adjusted by loading it slightly beyond the recommended values with the ALC disconnected. Yeah, a lot of fine tuning and stuff there. So yeah, it's probably a expensive piece of equipment. So yeah, experimentation is one thing, but you may not want to do too much without some further guidance, maybe from the manufacturer as well. So yeah, really do appreciate the questions, the follow-ups, and yeah, thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I was going to say this particular amplifier is $500 cheaper at the main trading company down there in Paris, Texas. HRO wants $1,700. This is a $500 discount that you get from this company down there in Texas. So if anybody's want to buy something, I would suggest they would try out the main trading company. They're on eBay, and they're a lot cheaper than HRO.
Alpha Bravo question.
Thanks for the follow-up on that, DIQ. Yeah, HRO definitely needs to cover some costs, but they don't always necessarily need to pass it along to us. So there's definitely a lot of other opportunities as well to get things a little bit cheaper. So yeah, really appreciate that, the main trading company. Then Alpha Bravo, I think, had a follow-up question. Go right ahead.
Well, you're saying that you don't think that it's putting out enough of enough wattage. What are your tubes like? What do your tubes look like?
Oh, they're working. They're hot. Yeah, I don't know. According to the meter, it's putting out at least 500 watts. So, you know, it's got more power that's supposed to handle this. But, you know, I'm just wondering if I'm supposed to be tuning that. I'll find out sooner or later. Thank you, guys. And I'll be listening out. K0DIQ.
All right, thanks again, DIQ. Really appreciate that. Alpha Bravo, if you have any follow-up or anyone else has any follow-up on that, sounds like this Ameritron HF amplifier is not putting out as much wattage as they're expecting it to. But any other follow up from anyone? Go right ahead. All right, this is K1 DBC Net Control. Yeah, DIQ. If you have any follow up in the future, don't hesitate to jump back in and let us know if you followed up with the manufacturer, if you gotten resolved, or maybe some faulty hardware. Figure out what needs to be replaced or something. Let us know in the future. But yeah, good discussion there. So yeah, I'll throw it out to the group. Any other further comments, questions, or anything? We have another 25 or so minutes. We're here to talk about ham radio STEM topics. I can bring up a few stories, but if anyone else has any other comments, questions, check-ins, please call now.
KE0SUM question.
Yeah, KE0SUM, Jonathan, go right ahead.
Well, we've got a lot of experienced ham radio operators on. I was wondering if I could ask this little question. What in your ham radio shack is small, inexpensive, tiny that you couldn't live without? Now, for me, it's called bongo ties. It's just rubber with a piece of wood, but they hold all kinds of wires together. But there have to be other little things that ham radio operators really enjoy. Just a thought.
All right, Jonathan. This is K1 DBC Net Control drone KE0SUM. Yeah, great question there. Yeah, as you mentioned, the bongo ties for you, but yeah, what cheap gadgets maybe do people have in their ham shacks or their benches that help with creature comforts? Any small cheap things that might help with troubleshooting ham radio or working with your radio or equipment that you might think about. Again, bongo ties as well, pretty cool thing there. Another thing that I can mention is what is the other? It's not called third hand. It's basically an easy way to help with soldering and things like that. So I'll see if I can bring that up here in a second. But anyone else, any tips that you might have, let us know.
K0 GPA, Bob in Lakewood, Lake check-in. And I think one of the best things you can have is a volt ohm meter, because I use mine all the time. It seems like I'm always looking for it, checking coax or something for continuity and stuff.
Well, Bob, I'd second that motion. Plus, remember, Harbor Freight used to give them away for free, and I think they're 10 techs, aren't they? They're still like $6 at Harbor Freight, and they're so handy and so small. KE0SUM.
Yeah, I got about 3 of them, I think it is.
Bravo.
All right, this is Daron K1 DBC Net Control Alpha Bravo. I'll get back to you here in a second. Yeah, thanks so much for on that KF0 GPA. Bob got you checked in, and yeah, great mention as well. A multimeter or a volt or ohm meter, really handy, quite cheap. $10-15 at a local hardware store or Harbor Freight, things like that, and makes troubleshooting a lot easier, understanding a lot of the voltages or ohms and things like that. So really awesome. Yeah, that really should be a tool that it's in everybody's a chest, things like that. No reason not to. So, and the other one I wanted to mention was the third hand solder tool. Basically, it's just if you were wanting to solder on a board, it helps to hold a PCB board or something like that, so makes soldering a lot easier. So yeah, some very cool stuff there. And then we had Alpha Bravo. Ken, go right ahead.
Just a silly comment. I think I have one of those little Harbor Freight meters. I think I have one every room in the house anyway. Back to net.
All right, thanks there, Ken. Alpha Bravo, absolutely, yeah. These were probably kind of the original kind of like nano VNAs and tiny SAs, things that we all have on our shelves now, but these are even more cheaper and much more commodity items. A multimeter, a digital multimeter or digital ohm meter, things like that makes things much easier to, yeah, again, troubleshoot and understand if you've soldered something wrong and things like that. So no reason not to have a few of these in your kit there. So yeah, great question. Yeah, I'll throw it out to the group. Anyone else suggestions of cheaper commodity equipment that you might have in your toolkit to help with different electronics projects or anything like that? Go right ahead.
W0TX repeater.
All right, this is Daron, K1DBC Net Control. All right, this is K1DBC Net Control. A great project for youth or for everyone. If you have a bag full of old batteries that you're hesitant to throw out, you know, a fun project for kids or anyone interested, basically using a multimeter to read the voltage off of a AA or whatever batteries you have and see what's worth keeping and what's worth recycling. So a great cheap project you can work with on with youth or anything like that. So using a multimeter just to test batteries in their homes. So yeah, just food for thought there. We had KS0E checking in online here. Sorry I missed you there, but KS0E checking in. Gotcha there. And yeah, third hand, it sounds like you mentioned as well. If you're ever doing some projects, again, it's a pretty nice, sturdy, small base with some like kind of alligator clip type things, but can hold a PCB board, and then maybe has a magnifier as well. So it frees up your 2 human hands to be able to solder a board or something like that. So things like that. Yeah, what else? A microscope, maybe digital microscopes if you're working on smaller things. That's a nice quality of life thing to have. So yeah, anyone else? Any tips or tricks or tools that you might have in your toolbox that would help out with electronic soldering or troubleshooting or anything? Go right ahead. All right. Well, this is K1DBC Net Control. SUM, great question there. Really appreciate everyone's follow-up. And yeah, if you're ever thinking about things, tools that might help you out, again, a multimeter, bongo ties for maybe cable, making things clean. Essentially, I'm missing the term here, but cleaning up your cabling and wiring, things like that. Let's see, a third hand for soldering. Yeah, really appreciate everyone's follow-up on that.
A follow-up question, SUM.
Yeah, SUM, go right ahead.
Hey guys, I think one of my pet peeves is winding counterpoises. Say you put up your Wolf River coil and you have 33 beat counterpoises, but winding them up and down, I've never found a really efficient winder for a good price. Does anybody have a suggestion?
GPA.
Good question. GPA. Bob, go right ahead with the follow-up.
Okay, K0 GPA. Yeah, I heard people finding those kite string winders. I don't know if they work any very good. I don't know. Probably if you go to something like a kite store, Maybe that Hobby Lobby might have something like that for like winding up kite strings. Maybe they're big enough.
Well, I've tried to. Actually, I've looked at the dollar stores and Walmart, etc., but I don't find anything that really is very acceptable. Now, Esty on the internet, they have some, and Chameleon actually makes them now, but they're, I guess it's not bad, $6 a piece. This is so you can wind them in, your classic figure eight, but I've never found any that I see them on YouTube videos, and I don't know where these guys get them. Okay, E0SUM, back to net.
All right, Jonathan, this is K1 DBC Net Control. Yeah, you got me stumped there a little bit as well. Yeah, I don't know on that as well, but yeah, I'll throw it out to the group or anyone else that has maybe any comments or questions on that. Go right ahead. All right, this is K1 DBC Net Control. Yeah, great question there. If you know or figure that out, SUM, let us know. But yeah, counterpoise winders. Yeah, I have not looked into that too much. So yeah, if you have any follow up on that today or next week or whatever it may be, just let us know. All right, this is K1 DBC Net Control. We have another 13 minutes for the net this evening. No hard stop, but we usually end around 8:30 p.m. Mountain Time. But with that, I guess I'll just take this opportunity to take official check-ins. Again, if you're just tuning in or whatever it may be, this is the Denver Radio Club Learning, a great place to learn about ham radio STEM topics. We have plenty of combined experience and expertise and are extremely willing to be helpful and help you out on any questions or projects you might have. So with that, we'll take all call signs, all call suffixes. Let us know your call sign, your name, and if you have any traffic or questions as you check in, please call now.
Kilo Foxtrot 0 Alpha Victor Lima. Jeff, question?
KF0AVL with a question. I'll come back to you here in just a minute. We'll take one more time. If you'd like to check into the Denver Radio Club Learning Net, we're taking all call signs, all call suffixes. Please check in now. All right, nothing heard. We'll throw it over to Jeff, KF0AVL with a question. The net is yours. Go right ahead, Jeff.
Yeah, so I'm a little newer to ham, but I have my technician's license, and I've been, joining some of the nets and just learning, listening. But the question is simplex, the normal national simplex or just any of the simplex, are they often used to just, chew the cud with people?
Good question there. Yeah, the national calling simplex frequency at least is 146.52 or 446.0. Yeah, you're more than happy to check in on there and rag chew or just have general conversations. Yeah, honestly, that's what it's there for. And yeah, it's not really. I don't think there's any official uses for it, but you're more than happy to do that. So you might not hear a lot on that, but I think some people are starting to listen to it more and check in on there more. So yeah. That is not a problem. The national simplex calling frequency, you're more than happy to use that to see who's in your area and get in contact. So yeah, if you have any other questions on that AVL or anyone else, go right ahead.
W0TX repeater.
Tom at SUM.
Yeah, Jonathan, KE0SUM. Go right ahead.
Yeah, the 14652 national calling frequency is, people check in and talk with each other. I monitor it every day. There is, every Wednesday night at 7:30 p.m., conflicting with Drone, there's a simplex net here in the Denver metro area, and we just turn on our radios and turn it up to high power. The idea is to see how far we can get with the simplex, and we chat about kind of survival and prepping things. But yeah, it's fairly well used, and that's on the 146.550. But 146.52, yeah, if you monitor that, you'll find people chatting all the time.
All right, sounds good there, Jonathan. Really do appreciate that. Yeah, yeah, it's funny how there's it's not a problem at all. But yeah, good to hear that there is some nets maybe on that as well. So 146.55 maybe, or I forget what you mentioned as well. But yeah, check out maybe some of the nets on the national simplex calling frequencies or things like that. But yeah, that's definitely an opportunity to try to get a hold of somebody for any troubleshooting or just general conversation. So yeah, AVL, if you have any other comments or questions, KF0AVL, go right ahead.
Yeah, I appreciate the information. The only other question I had, I was kind of interested, and correct me if I'm wrong, I heard 10 meters, I guess with the solar cycles, it's going to start up where it'll be able to, I guess, bounce off the atmosphere and get a further, de-Xing. Is that something that is actually happening? And if so, is that first portion of the band for technicians, is it, do many people actually use it?
E0 GPA.
Great question there, AVL 10-meter band, maybe with the new propagation solar cycle. Looks like it's 28 megahertz to 29.7 megahertz and available for technicians in, looks like part of that as well. So if you look at PSK map, PSK reporter, it looks like there's plenty of 10-meter operations going on as well. But yeah, I'll throw it over to GPA. Bob, go right ahead.
This is K0 GPA. Oh yeah, on 14652 also, yesterday or today, I forgot, there was a guy from Scotland up on Pikes Peak making a bunch of soda contacts. That's a Summit on the Air, guys. And also you hear a lot of POTA parks on the air using 14652. But yeah, on 10 meters, 10's been pretty dead lately. I've checked it almost every morning. I did make a couple contacts, when was that? Probably last week, into Costa Rica and I think it was Haiti or somewhere in the Caribbean. But yeah, it's up and down. Almost have to check it all the time, and sometimes it's open real good and other times it's just dead, and it's been like that for a while. Then we've had some solar stuff going on too that is affecting the bands too, on all the bands. K0 GPA.
K0 GPA, Bob, thank you so much for the information on that. Yeah, some of the parks on the air and things like that. I have heard someone from the Cherry Creek State Park operating on the simplex frequency, so that's another great opportunity to check in to operate on that frequency as well. And looking at hamradioschool.com, at least the higher HF bands, 10 meters included, will be most effective for skip propagation during the years near solar maximum. So yeah, as we near into the solar cycle 25 and maybe some maximum opportunities here. So I don't have much more on that AVL, Jeff, but if you have any other comments or questions on that 10 meters or the National Simplex or anything, go right ahead.
Yeah, you had mentioned a website that you were checking on for the 10 meters to see if people are making contact. Can you give me that one again? KF0AVL?
Yeah, of course. PSK Reporter, Papa Sierra Kilo Reporter.info. PSKReporter.info. And they have a map available for some of the digital contacts, at least. And you can narrow it down by the bands. So I'm looking at the 10-meter band over the last 24 hours, and it looks like there's been some contacts. It usually connects lines to who's contacted who. But basically, yeah, it looks like there is some 10-meter activity happening at the moment. But it just may not be as best as it could be. So pskreporter.info.
Comment, SUM.
Yeah, Jonathan, KE0SUM, go right ahead.
I'd like to recommend another resource that I use on a daily basis. Just go to qrz.com, and about on the first line, 3 places over, you'll see what's happening with which bands are open. They'll tell you, like, tonight, I don't have my glasses on, but the conditions on 10 meters are fair during the day and poor at night. And actually, none of the bands are particularly good. 20 meters, but 40 is fair. But it's an easy chart to look at real quickly and decide how far you might get out. I'm not saying don't get on the air. I'm just saying you might not get out as far.
All right, sounds good there, Jonathan, KE0SUM. Yeah, QRZ.com, or on the bottom of our webpage as well. You'll see some pretty good information here that comes from N0NBH.com. Just a quick glance at what bands should have pretty good propagation and whatnot. As you mentioned there, during the daytime, 12 meter to 10 meters fair, and at night it's poor. So not as good as some of the other bands. So that's another good reference to check as well. Thank you so much.
GPA again.
All right, this is K1 DBC Net Control. Again, there's nothing binary set in stone here. It's not absolutely closed. You'll have opportunities to get propagation out. So just use these kind of as a reference, and don't let that hinder you at least trying or listening in on some of the bands there. So with that, GPA, Bob, go right ahead.
Another good one is DX Maps too, and that shows you just go to the band you want, and it gives you a map of the world on there. You zoom into what you want, and it shows where the DX is on that band at that time. And I use that quite a bit too for 10, 20, and 6 meters even. And what's the other one? DX Cluster or DX Summit is another one that you can always find stuff on there too. So there's quite a few different places you can look for that. K0GPA.
W0TX repeater.
GPA, thank you so much for follow-up on there. Yeah, DX Maps and DX Clusters. Really good information here. You can just put in what band or frequencies you're wanting to transmit on, and you can see some potential contacts of things like that. So, yeah, awesome tools that are out there. So, if anyone has any comments, questions on that, or AVL, if you have any other further comments or questions, just let us know.
Nothing more from my side, but I really appreciate all the information. Thank you, 73.
All right, sounds good. This is K1 DBC Net Control. Yeah, glad we could be of help. And yeah, that's what this net is for all of us to learn and to help each other. So yeah, glad we could be able to provide some help here this evening. So it's 8:30 p.m. Mountain Time. I could bring up some quick couple of stories here real quick, but we're nearing the end of the net. Anyone else have any other further comments, questions, check-ins? This will probably be the second to last call. Any further comments, questions, check-ins? Please call now.
Alpha Bravo question.
Yeah, Alpha Bravo, go ahead.
Does anybody know if there are any 10-meter repeaters in the Denver area? I have a repeater book here from 2012 to 2013, but I was out in the shed this morning, and I chunked a repeater on 2962, and I was just wondering if there was anything around here local. GPA.
Local 10-meter repeater question. Great question. Yeah, not saying anything on the recent repeater book. So GPA, go right ahead.
Okay, we used to have 2 or 3 of them here in Denver area. Denver Radio Club had one on, what was that frequency? I can't remember now. I think it was on 620, 620, but they've taken it down. Haven't found a place to put it up yet. And then there was a couple other ones. I think the Springs might have one, Colorado Springs. Most of them you'll find it back east coast and west coast. That's where whenever you have some strong skip, you always sure go up on that 29,600 and up, and you'll hear the east coast mostly. There used to be a place in Boston used to go through that into Europe from Boston. So, but yeah, there isn't any more around this area that I know of on 10 meters. I think Denver Radio Club had the last one, K0 GPA.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, I was just kind of curious because, like I say, I chunked a 10-meter repeater on 2962, and I was just wondering if it was something local. And then about 15 minutes later, I couldn't hit it. So, just curious. This is Kilo Echo Zero Alpha Bravo, back to net.
All right, great question there. Yeah, 29.62. I'll maybe try to check into that. Something online, very little information at the moment, but yeah, a 10-meter repeater locally. It doesn't sound like there's maybe too much potential out there, but it sounds like you keyed up something. So yeah, if anybody ever has any other comments or questions on 10-meter repeaters or operations, just let us know. All right, this is Daron, K1 DBC Net Control. I can bring up a very couple quick things here. I'll throw it back out to the net in a minute, and then we'll wrap things up here. Local news article here on Denver7.com. This seems to be happening quite frequently here. Is a seriously injured climber rescued after fall at Black Canyon in Gunnison National Park. Written by Stephanie Butzer. But basically, the Black Canyon Search and Rescue Team and Western Colorado University SAR team both responded to the incident. Let me see. Climbing in some of the national parks requires serious training, preparation, experience, and some of the parks have little to no cell service. So a lot of people are finding themselves in some of our national parks and things like that, where they're needing to call on search and rescue teams and teams that we all have helped with and It's if you know people who like to be outdoors and maybe try to get them involved with ham radio operations. So maybe there wasn't cell phone service, but they might have been within coverage of a repeater in the area. So it's ramping down, at least summertime, but we're coming up to wintertime and some of the avalanche support as well. So if you're ever involved with a search and rescue team or areas groups or have friends or family that go out back where there's not cell phone service, maybe try to help them get at least a technician license and a basic HT, and they might be able to get some help if they need it. This is K1 DBC Net Control. What else do I have here? Interesting story over on hackaday.com, written by Al Williams on the 11th of September. Balloon Eye View via ham radio. If you ever thought about launching a high-altitude balloon, there's much to consider. One of the things is how do you stream video down so that you and others can enjoy the fruits of your labor. You'll find advice on that and more in a recent post from user SCD31. You'll at least enjoy the real-time video recorded from the launch. Video is recorded with a Raspberry Pi. It's streamed feeding a 70-centimeter ham radio. And if you're interested in that, you can look at their information. So let's see again. Article titled Balloon Eye View via Ham Radio over on hackaday.com. Let's see. There's another story I can bring up a little bit, probably in the future, though. But a very quick preview of that, at least, is an interesting electronics manufacturer that I had seen in my youth was Ramsey Electronics. So I can go into this a little bit further, probably next week or the week after. Let me see. So next week will be our Elmers session. We can maybe talk about it there or the week after. So pretty interesting discussion on them and how they were rated in the early 2000s. And they were just basically an electronics manufacturer. So Ramsey Electronics, check them out. They basically sold electronics kits and FM radio kits and things like that. And they kind of were just a little bit ahead of their time. And I think the federal government really didn't understand what they were doing. So nothing nefarious, but just electronics kits. So this is over on slashdot.org. Feds Ramsey Electronics raid blow by blow from January 5th of 2000. So we can talk about this at a further time, but pretty interesting read here.
PA comment?
Yeah, GPA, go right ahead.
I did build a couple of those, but I just remembered I heard on Newsline at one of the repeaters, I forgot in the morning or night, but they were saying on there that Radio Shack is trying to come back in business too, and I think it's from somewhere in South America is starting it up. I'm not sure. I can't remember exactly what it was. Anyway, that was a Newsline report. You can probably look it up on a computer somewhere. But I forgot. I think it might have been Monday night. They have the Rocky Mountain Radio League net. They have a Newsline report every Monday. I think that's where I had my scanner on a K0 GPA.
Yeah, great information there, GPA, Bob. Yeah, thanks so much on that. Another article here from hackaday.com. Will Radio Shack return? Maybe that's what the El Salvador-based Unicommer group had in mind when they bought one of their favorite brands, Radio Shack. They have been, Unicommer has been operating in Central America as Radio Shack franchisee since 1998. 2015, they bought the Radio Shack brand for Central America, Caribbean, South America. Now they've acquired rights to the brand in over 70 countries, including the US, Canada, China, and Europe. So, we'll see what happens. At least on the article, they imagine their Salvador website might be hinting at what's coming up here. RadioShackLA.com. We'll see what happens. So, Who knows? So yeah, that'd be awesome to see. Yeah, this is Daron, K1DBC Net Control. Yeah, it might be consumer electronics. Hopefully they'll be able to do some kit form based stuff because it's very infrequent that we see that. Micro Center is probably the only big box manufacturer that really has something you can go buy in person for radio or any other electronics troubleshooting or things like that. So it'd be nice to see maybe an approach where we have some other form of a company that will provide statewide some of the basic electronics that we might need to buy quickly. All right, thanks again, GPA Bob, for that. So this will be the last call. Any other final comments, questions, check-ins, anything else for this evening's net? Please call now. All right, this is K1DBC Net Control. Couple of upcoming things over on our website, w0tx.org. This Saturday, September 16th, get on the air and play with ham radio. So w0tx.org under events on the DRC Saturday over at the Prospect Arena in Arvada, 9 a.m. We'll be talking about WinLink, if this is choosing to come up here. Show and tell if you want to bring out your equipment. That's a great opportunity this Saturday, September 16th at the Prospect Arena. Still to be announced, but then next Wednesday, September 20th, will be our meeting. Again, still to be announced, but we've had a few people trying to help garner some attention to that and help with that, so really do appreciate that. So we will be announcing that pretty shortly here. We also had we also supported this last Saturday, the 9th, Daniel Leach, KI4WIN, and WG0N Dave, along with quite a lot of other volunteers, help with the American Diabetes Association Tour de Cure, providing radio communications support for a bicycle riding event. So it's awesome, and it sounds like things went quite well, despite potentially not having enough volunteers, but we are really happy to help with that. And if you ever want to help out in the future, next year we'll be taking volunteers for that as well. One other thing on the club, next week, again, September 20th, right before our meeting, there'll be a few elections for our club president, as well as a couple of other people on our board. I believe W0GV, Jerry, Kevin, K0KPS, Kathy Vilhauer, N0CRZ, and I think Mark Thomas, N0XRX, are all up for election. So we'll be sending out some more information via email. So if you're a club member in good standing and you like to vote on that, that'll be an opportunity. If you want to help get other people into the board or into the club president position, that will be an opportunity to do so. So September 20th, right before the meeting, we'll be taking club elections. All right. Again, w0tx.org for a lot of information on our club. Recent for sale and wanted items on there. You can post your own for sale if you want, or browse what's posted on there. Give you propagation information. We have some ham radio crossword puzzles if you ever want to participate in those. Those are quite old, but have been transformed into a digital format. So w0tx.org. This is K1DBC Net Control, and I will start to close things out here. All right, this is K1DBC Net Control. Really appreciate everyone who checked in. We had a total count of 16 check-ins this evening. We appreciate everyone who participated and can provide some help. We've used the term Elmer in the past, and we still try to use that, but Elmer is just anyone who can help provide some follow-up or guidance. So if you're ever wanting to provide any information, don't ever hesitate to get in contact with us, get a hold of us, check in over the air, whether it be via our repeaters or other repeaters. We appreciate the Denver Radio Club for allowing us to use this repeater. We appreciate everyone who's been helping in and stepping in as a net control operator. KS0E, Alex, N0TRP, Jim. Might have been someone else there I'm completely missing and forgetting about, and I do apologize. But I really do appreciate everyone who's been able to help with net control operations. And if you're ever interested in that, we're happy to help you out. We have a pretty cool tool, w0tx.org/check-in. You put in a call sign, and it fills out everything for you. So we can help you take check-ins or whatever you feel comfortable with. So with that, it is 8:46 p.m. Mountain Time. We'll close out the net. This is Daron, K1DBC 7.3, and we'll talk next week. Again, next week will be our Elmers session, 6 p.m., right before the regular meeting at 7 p.m. w0tx.org/ or just w0tx.org. Right on our front page, you'll find the link, the Google Meet link. So with that, 7.3, I am clear. All right, thanks everyone here. I might have something here, and then we'll leave it there. Yeah, here we go. Some inspiration.
When technology connects, so does humanity. No matter how small it begins, every connection has the power to engineer something bigger, to imagine a better world, and bring us together to make it happen. Beyond creating a safer, sustainable, more productive world, TE Connectivity is engineering possibility, engineering hope, engineering the future. We're committed to unleashing the potential of every connection. Connections that bring proven technology to every corner of the Earth. Connections that empower collaboration in engineering. And connections that move humanity forward. Because any connection can change the world. Every connection counts.
Thanks again, everyone. We'll talk to you all next